I hope you never have to see the devastation war brings to a country. As a B-29 airplane commander during World War II, I witnessed the destruction of land, resources, and people in Japan. From January to August 1945, I flew 32 missions from Tinian Island, an airplane named Flak Alley Sally, with my crew of 11 men. I was born on May 26, 1923, in Idaho. I was always interested in engineering, so after high school graduation in 1941, I moved to Pasadena to attend Caltech. As a young boy, I had always wanted to fly, so at 18, I enlisted into the Army Air Corps. I attended basic training in Lincoln, Nebraska, and the rest of my training, including flight training, took place in 9 different bases in the United States and Cuba. After the completion of all my flight training and crew formation in Grand Island, Nebraska, the 6th Bomb Group, a part of the 20th Air Force, proceeded to Tinian Island in January 1945 under a cloak of secrecy. Upon our approach to the island, Tokyo Rose, an American-educated Japanese with all the latest song hits, greeted us by radio. We weren't a secret any longer. Of all the missions flown, the one on March 10, although similar to other incendiary missions, stands out in my memory. It was the first of a series of low-level nighttime incendiary raids, with each B-29 dropping its bombs individually alongside a string of fires already established by a Pathfinder plane, with the intent to burn contiguously. Being later in the sequence of planes, all we could see out of the cockpit was a sea of fire. We prayed that Flak Alley Sally would come out unscathed. She was a jewel and carried us home to Tinian Island with a coating of soot and a powerful stench of burned flesh. By dawn, we had burned 16 square miles of Tokyo. We later learned that there were 240,000 casualties, of which 90,000 had perished. In thinking back about this mission, we are pleased that it had been successful. This mission, along with the rest flown, convinced the Japanese to surrender without the need for a bloody invasion of the Japanese mainland. After the war, we left Flak Alley Sally on Tinian with its 141 accumulated patched holes. I'm proud of the time I served in the Army Air Corps and the 2 distinguished flying crosses granted, of which one was for a nonstop flight from Japan to Washington, D.C. A week after my discharge, I married my sweetheart. I met her during college training detachment and was very lucky to have her waiting for me when I returned. I finished school at USC and was recruited by General Electric Company. I am disappointed in the lack of teaching of history to today's youth and the lack of appreciation for the freedoms we enjoy. They came at a high price, paid by earlier soldiers. To avoid future loss of freedoms, youth need to understand, appreciate, and be willing to defend America's precious heritage.